I am going to carry the water for us and answer the question domestically because you're an active player, and I know it's uncomfortable for like other players to talk about other players, but me, I could deliver the tough love and still be respectful, as you can. I'm not. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. So the question
Mm.
is, let's go one at a time. There are three questions. Which teams played above expectations? Which teams played below expectations? Or which teams played exactly how we expected? I'd like to start first. The American teams that I felt played above expectations were Trevor Crabb and Triborn. They did lose in the second round, so I know they wanted to go further, and I know they're trying to play catch up with Phil and Nick. But with that being said, when you consider the pool they had Lupo, Nikolai, and Lupo in the first in their pool. They had Krasilnikov and Stoyanovsky the first round. And then they have Mullen Sorum, which they lost back to back 21-19 games. And I mean, it was very, very important for them because they know, unlike some of the teams there, and I don't want to be disrespectful, but unlike some of the teams, know in their heart of hearts they can win a 4-star. They can win the whole thing. And I suspect there's some teams that they're playing and they're like, you know what, we're not favored to win, but we'll do the best we can. No, Try and Trevor. And I don't know if it's a chip on their shoulder, because Try's kind of a cocky dude, but they believe that they can beat the best teams in the world, and they're out there showing it. And I love their mentality. They're like, there's no try. Like Yoda says, you either do or do not. Highlighting Miles Evans and Bill Kalinsky, didn't make the qualifier, but country quota, big win. The tournament before, big up to my boys. Came Shock, who plays in the wind like probably better than anybody on the tour. That man was like, he embraced it. I was like, he looked like he's playing indoor. And of course, Theo Brunner, who is a great partner for everybody, very interchangeable in terms of giving up control or taking control. So he's a great partner to have in that respect. If you need him to take control or give up control, and we'll talk about the levels of control later. But Rob, who's your international? Who performed above?
Um, well, I mean, you got to give it up to Sharif and Ahmed. I just think they're the most improved team of those upper echelon or the Olympic qualified teams. They're playing, out of their mind. The defender is he's always been smooth, but he's picking up just every ball and he's putting a lot of steam on it. So jump serving great. Sharif, they're running like a little bit faster tempo. Sharif's got all his swings down.
Jesus.
He still can't swing line the best, but he's just carving the angle, shooting a little bit. They look like a really, really solid team that, when Olympics come around, man, they could definitely be world beaters. Be right in that medal conversation at the end of the day.
Nice. Yeah, and I love how they ran a play. They ran like a fake back set, and I had a highlight clip which disappeared. Sharif passed and then was moving as if he's going for a back set and stopped and went right back. And the blocker kept moving for the back set. He had nobody up. And that ball, of course, he hit line. It was nobody up. So he put it in front of the defense. I love that. So which team do you think performed below what you expected them to do? This one, I'm going to give you the floor first. And this is a challenge.
Yeah.
I think Nikolai and Lupo were probably expected to do better, but I don't know. I'm covering them.
Well, it's tough because it's a 4-star, but it's really has
Go
the
ahead
top
and say
talent
it.
of a 5-star.
It's a five. It's a de
It's a
facto
five
five.
star, but it has the lower end of the teams. It could be a lower 4-star, maybe even a high 3-star. So I feel like there's just like a large pool of teams, and you see it on the men's and the women's side. So I wouldn't necessarily say anybody played like terribly.
Nah,
I would have expected
not at
more
that level.
maybe out of a couple of the Brazilian teams. One seeing on how well the women's teams did, especially in like this is their Brazilian style of ball. This is like perfect for them. Deep sand, lots of wind, tough plays happening. You got to adjust the ball a lot. Not everything systematically, not everything's systematically done. So I just think that I would have loved to have seen, George and Andre maybe perform a little better. But it was nice to see Alvaro and Bruno, not Bruno, Alvaro and
Yeah,
I can't remember his name right
Bruno.
now. Alisson
Alisson, yeah.
in that quarterfinals, pushing Mullen and Sorum to a pretty tough game.
No, that was semis because I think they just played for third. They just played. They just played for third right now as we speak. In fact, while you're talking about all this, I was trying to see if I could pull it up. Brazil versus Italy, bronze. Yep, they play for the bronze. And honestly, since we're doing this right now, I want to see if I can see who won. Let's see if we can find out who won. All right, so Brazil's up 1-0. Yeah, Brazil 1-2 up. Brazil 1-2 up. April and Alex are playing right. So for me, my American team that performed below expectations, this might surprise people, and some people it won't surprise at all. I got to go with April and Alex, okay? Alex Kleiman and April Ross, to me, are the best team in the world. If they're not the best team in the world, they're 1A, okay? It's been them in Canada for a long time, and Rebecca, and who's Rebecca's partner again? Barbara? No, who is?
No, Rebecca
Patricia.
And Anna Patricia.
Right. They're world beaters on any given day, and even on their worst day, they're going to be in the playoffs, second round, third round. So I have them affectionately in third place. So for me, anytime Alex and April is not in the finals, winning or losing, particularly in the 4-star tournament, which we kind of agree is a virtual 5, considering the talent. So they will say the same thing I'm saying now. If we're not in the finals, winning and losing, it was an underachievement. So consistent with their own, I'm playing mind reader here, and then maybe someone's going to be like, oh, don't tell them what they're thinking. You can't read their mind. I can kind of read their mind on this. They have expectations to win the gold. They have expectations to finish strong. And finish strong means winning these tournaments. So when they don't win and when they're not in the finals, they perform below the expectations. And the week before, they making second round, dropping 2-0 to the Australians, was what anyone will call a disappointment, from the fans to the coach all the way to the players. So not casting any aspersions on them, and at the same time, I'm not being nice to make nice, because you know me, that's not how I'm built. I'm not disrespectful, but I'm not gonna like only say a bunch of nice things to try to get in someone's good graces, because one, I feel like I'm selling out. 2, I probably won't be in their graces anyway. I mean, they right? I'm not. So that's not how I operate. But sorry, enough about me. Below expectations, got to go with April and Alex. Now, which team or teams performed exactly how we expected them to? I'm going to go first on this one, and you go second. All right. As far as the American teams, everybody else. Everybody else, Clays and Sponsor, right? They made the quarterfinals, which I knew if they performed lights out, that would be their maximum result in the tournament like this. On any other 4-star, they might be in the finals, but we all agree this isn't your daddy's 4-star, okay? Who else? Stockman and Kalinsky, they performed exactly how I want. I thought they'd split and pool and go to the playoffs. This time they didn't. This tournament they didn't. Evans and Kalinsky, I knew they'd make the country quarter, and I knew they would hit or miss as far as qualifying. If they got in, I mean, that's exactly where I thought they would be. Sarah Hughes, Emily Day, qualifying, I didn't think they were going to qualify. That's exactly how I expected them to finish. And again, for the players out there who are too sensitive, this is a volleyball podcast, and we got to talk about, I'm not attacking players personally. I'm attacking volleyball players with volleyball, right? I might have said something mean about April, the way she performed in that second set. She got aced and got blocked a lot. And I said, oh my God, this is horrible. And someone was like, oh, you're saying April played horrible? Like she's responsible for losing this match? I'm like, no, on this stretch where you expected her to do better against a team that they were favored to beat, there's this and that. So my answer as far as the American teams, playing the way I expected them to play. Phil and Nick, yeah, I thought they'd make second round. And if they ran into Mullen Sorum, they would lose. Which, by the way, I thought was their best performance of the year. The first Cancun, the one that went to 3 sets, that was as good as I've seen Phil and Nick play in 2 years. Which is a testament to not only how good they can still be, but a testament to how dominant Mullen and Sorum are, because that was Phil and Nick's best, and it still wasn't enough. Big up to Kerry Walsh, who overcame a bad call on a serve that was out that the refs called in against Patricia and Rebecca. Still found a way to win. And I don't know the extent of Brooke Sweat's injury, but she wound up taking balls on the ground, just down balls, or Kerry kept optioning, and Kerry just looked gassed from trying to option. So don't know what her injury is, but that could be qualify shattering if she can't go next week or can't go whatever her injury is. So, Rob, internationally, who performed, highlight one or two teams that performed exactly how you thought they would.
Real quick, though, did you say that she got injured or that she, just because she was optioning, like she was just trying to shove the ball up to
No,
to
she
Carey all
was
the time?
optioning because she couldn't jump or wouldn't jump. That's all I know.
Oh, really?
All I know is whenever there was a ball out of system, Kerry set her. She couldn't jump. She stayed on the ground and tried to down ball, tried to just like hard drive or whatever and this and that. And everything else that was in system, Kerry was optioning, which worked for a little bit. But I mean, after a while, it started to look like a drill, like an endurance drill.
I got to go back and watch that because,
Yeah.
man, I must have missed that because I watched a bunch of their
That
games.
was against the Chinese.
Yeah, internationally, who did I think stayed the course? I mean, honestly, I was really surprised with, kind of how bad the showings were for the European teams. Again, like we were saying, like I thought the Brazilian team should have probably showed out better, but everybody's got different things going on with COVID. And, Brazil is not the best place right now when it comes to COVID and whatnot. So, yeah, I was pretty surprised. I'd say overall in the tournament, even in the first Cancun, how difficult it was for people to really adjust. Whether it's just the type of training, whether it's that every single event is basically never on a beach. It's either in Qatar or it's in, Germany or it's in Poland or it's in, it's like Cancun, one of the most beautiful stretches of beach. I honestly, half the time I was watching the games, I would just have the games on the TV because it was so beautiful. So, it was one of the most best venues I've seen in a very long time.
Did you see those
talking
waves, dude?
about the waves, the wind, so
Gnarly.
all of it, yeah. But my man, that was just like a crazy, crazy, crazy trip.
Yeah. For me, I got to defend the players on this one because sometimes when the fans, because those guys on YouTube post and some of those guys are just off the page, like the YouTube chat or whatever, which the event was pretty much exclusively on YouTube. Some of them are like, oh man, these windy conditions are really messing with her game. It's really, really hot. Oh, they only lost because they're tired. And I don't like that because it looks like that the players are saying that. And I'm going to defend the players. The players are not saying that. The players who are training in the U.S., who train in deep sand, who train in these windy conditions, who are supposed to be prepared for this, are not the ones making those excuses. They don't make those excuses. And if they did make those excuses, I'd be on this podcast right now giving them tough love saying I don't want to hear that nonsense, right? You guys practice in deep sand. You guys practice in windy conditions. You guys enlist the best coaches that you can find, okay? And if you're going to walk around with a chip on your shoulder, then you got to get out there and represent and back it up. But the players were not saying that and the players were not doing that. But for the fans that are saying this, I will say this. It's not like when Phil and Nick served across the net, the wind stopped blowing for Mullins-Orm. Right? It's not like the wind was calm for them, and then when they hit it, the wind picked up again. It's not like the Russians, Kolomina and her partner, have air conditioners stuck up their posteriors where they have this cooling thing to cool their behinds, and everybody else is like dehydrating really fast from the humidity. So I will say the conditions for the fans who were posting that nonsense, the conditions were the same for all four competitors, and that's why I don't tolerate that excuse of BS. Okay, in fact, some of these games, those conditions should actually give the Americans a better shot at winning. Right? Think about it. Like the best player that played under those windy conditions and the hot conditions was Cam Shaw. He's the elephant in the room because that dude had energy from bell to bell. And there were some players, Qatar, they looked a little gas at the end, but they have a second win and they look great. They're not carrying a lot of weight too, right? So because muscles need oxygen. But I do not. I get really really upset, And again, I'm not defending the players to be in their good graces because that's not how I roll. I don't want. I'm not saying that because again, they don't make excuses. They will be the first to say, hey, all four of us played under the same conditions. But for anyone to even suggest that someone lost because of those conditions, when I think, in my opinion, those conditions help them win, might help them beat a team that they're not favored to beat, is unacceptable. And I wanted to get that off my chest because this is a fan-driven podcast and a lot of professionals do listen to this. I can highlight, anyone whose last name is Crab, anyone whose first name is Emily, or anyone whose first name is Kelly, except for maybe one.
Right. Well, but just to piggyback
Please.
on that, and to bring it to reality, we do have the opportunity right here where we're sitting, where all these guys train at. We do have the opportunity 12 months out of the year, 365 days out of the year to go out there and it not be snowing, it not be so cold that you could actually get sick. You know what I mean? You have the opportunity to get out there each and every day. And, you need wind, go out at 3:30. This is why I have to agree with you, because there is every opportunity to be a world beater in your skills in this area, because you have everything you could possibly need to be better at beach volleyball. That's why here it is, in a sense, the mecca of beach volleyball for American volleyball, because you have everything you could possibly need to succeed here. You have the weather conditions, you have the deep sand, you have nets galore, you have talent. So there really is always a missing link.
They're recruiting good coaches, right? They're recruiting good coaches from all over. I mean,
right.
Hell, I'll do it. I'm right? And for no, because I got a lot of blowback by people making illogical arguments. Oh, you can't say that person played poorly. Oh, you can't. Or have you ever played? That's my least favorite one. Like you have to be a chef to know if if steak tastes like shit. Come on, get out of here, okay? But to answer that question, yes, I have played, and without getting into my long resume, the last two years alone, since 2018, I helped one team win an AVP title in San Francisco, one player, that is. I helped one team get into the qualifier who tried 7 times he couldn't, and I helped a head coach win the WCC titles. So, I mean, as far as me being in the game and knowing the game, I think my resume speaks for itself, and I feel uncomfortable even selling that. In fact, my wife is gonna smash me for even talking about myself. She hates when I do that. I hate when I do that, and you hate when I do that too. So I apologize. All right. I was trying to find out who won FUDS, and no one would tell me. But I'm like, okay, no one wants to tell me who won FUDS. Fine, bye. We ain't gonna talk about it. But of course, my boy Evan Corey phoned in. I didn't interview him. I'm not going to bother him every week, for Christ's sakes. He won with Travis Mewhirter, J.D. Hamilton, who's America's everyone's favorite nice guy. And I don't know who the outside hitter is, but this dude, they just kept feeding him high fours. And
Cody Caldwell.
Cody Caldwell? That's who his name is. He is a beast. Cody, man, come see me. Come on this podcast, dude, because I want to know who you are, and I think the fans nationwide need to know who you are. I mean, I'm not saying no one doesn't. I mean, because if they don't know, now you know. But for people who want to go on YouTube and watch a match for FUDS, FUDS is 4-on-4, and it was in Florida. It's men's, and it's really, really, I mean, I haven't seen anything this good since Central Park 4s when it was just hardtop before they put the beach courts up, where those Dominicans and Russians would just go at each other.
Watch the semifinal.
Yes, that was it. That was what I was going to say. I bring your attention to the semifinals, which was one of the best matches ever, right? It was Sean Rosenthal, Jeff Samuels. You had Ed Ratledge, his little gangly self hitting Oppo. David Lee hitting the middle. Ian Satterfield is like a backup. I don't know. So congratulations to our FUDS winners, and thank you guys for sharing your information with me, because if you share it, well, I'll talk about it. But if I got to come looking for you and you don't message me back, like Flavor Flav says, can't do nothing for you, man. Running for your life. Yeah, boy. Oh man, dude, we take a long time to talk about that, but big tournament, look, super necessary. You agree?
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, now that we talked about that, let's talk about our next subject matter. My personal favorite, ladies and gentlemen, I give you to shame or not to shame.
Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame.